In the bustling intellectual hub of 9th century Baghdad, a controversial figure emerged, challenging established religious doctrines and championing the power of reason. This was Isḥaq al-Rawandi, a thinker whose ideas would reverberate through the ages, influencing philosophers and freethinkers for centuries to come. Rawandi was a man of great intellect and courage. Unafraid to question the prevailing dogma of his time, he dared to explore the limits of human reason and challenge the very foundations of religious belief. Though much of his life remains shrouded in mystery, his writings, often critical of traditional Islamic thought, provide a glimpse into the mind of a radical thinker far ahead of his time. Rawandi's legacy is one of intellectual curiosity and a relentless pursuit of truth, even when it meant challenging the most deeply held beliefs of his era. His story is a testament to the enduring power of ideas and the importance of questioning received wisdom. Born in the early 9th century in Rawand, Persia, Isḥaq al-Rawandi's early life remains an enigma. Details about his upbringing, education, and the path that led him to question the prevailing religious orthodoxy are scarce. However, it is clear that Rawandi emerged from a milieu of intense intellectual ferment. Baghdad during this period was a melting pot of cultures and ideas, where scholars from across the Islamic world converged, debating theology, philosophy, and science. It was within this vibrant intellectual atmosphere that Rawandi likely encountered the Mu'tazila school of Islamic theology, known for its emphasis on reason and free will. This encounter seems to have profoundly influenced his early intellectual development, pushing him to grapple with complex theological questions and eventually leading him to question the very tenets of Islam. While he initially aligned himself with the Mu'tazila, Rawandi's skepticism deepened, leading him to break away and embark on a path of independent inquiry. Isḥaq al-Rawandi's ideas, considered radical and even heretical by many of his contemporaries, were primarily disseminated through his writings. Regrettably, many of his original works have been lost to the sands of time, victims of historical events and the passage of centuries. However, the fragments and quotations that survive in the works of his critics and detractors provide invaluable insights into the depth and breadth of his thought. One of his most notable works, the Book of Emerald, directly challenged the concept of prophethood, questioning the divine origin of religious revelations. In this controversial treatise, Rawandi argued that reason, not revelation, should be the ultimate guide for human understanding and morality. His other works, though known mostly through secondary sources, tackled a wide range of theological and philosophical issues, from the nature of God to the problem of evil, consistently employing reason and logic to dissect and challenge traditional religious doctrines. At the heart of Isḥaq al-Rawandi's thought lay a profound commitment to reason as the primary tool for understanding the world and our place in it. He argued that the human mind, endowed with the capacity for logic and critical thinking, was more than capable of discerning truth without reliance on divine revelation or religious dogma. This emphasis on reason placed him in direct opposition to the dominant theological currents of his time, which emphasized the absolute authority of religious texts and the unquestionable nature of divine commandments. Rawandi contended that if a religious doctrine contradicted the principles of reason, then it should be rejected as flawed or incomplete. He argued that blind faith, unquestioning acceptance of religious pronouncements, was a form of intellectual laziness, hindering humanity's pursuit of knowledge and progress. His writings often employed a dialectical style, presenting arguments and counter-arguments, dissecting theological claims, and exposing logical fallacies, all in an attempt to demonstrate the superiority of reason over blind faith. Section 5. Challenging the Divine. Rawandi's critique of prophethood. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of Isḥaq al-Rawandi's thought was his direct challenge to the concept of prophethood, a cornerstone of Islamic belief. He questioned the very idea of divinely appointed messengers receiving revelations from God and then transmitting them to humanity. Rawandi argued that there was no definitive way to prove the authenticity of prophetic claims, suggesting that they could be products of human imagination, social conditioning, or even deliberate fabrication. He pointed to the inconsistencies and contradictions he perceived within religious texts and traditions as evidence that these were not the infallible word of God, but rather the products of human minds operating within specific historical and cultural contexts. Rawandi's critique of prophethood was not merely an intellectual exercise. It had profound implications for the authority of religious institutions and the power dynamics within Islamic society. By questioning the divine mandate of religious leaders, he was implicitly advocating for a more egalitarian and reason-based approach to social and political organization. Section 6. The Mu'tazila Connection, Shared Ground and Divergence. Isḥaq al-Rawandi's intellectual journey intersected with the Mu'tazila school of Islamic theology, known for its emphasis on reason and free will. Initially, he found common ground with the Mu'tazila, particularly in their use of rational discourse to engage with theological questions. Both Rawandi and the Mu'tazila shared a belief in the importance of human reason and its compatibility with religious faith. However, Rawandi's skepticism eventually led him to diverge from the Mu'tazila. While the Mu'tazila sought to reconcile reason with revelation, reinterpreting Islamic doctrine through a rational lens, Rawandi ultimately found traditional religious beliefs incompatible with his rational worldview. His questioning of prophethood, a concept the Mu'tazila accepted, albeit with qualifications, marked a significant point of departure. Rawandi's break from the Mu'tazila underscores his commitment to intellectual independence and his willingness to follow his reasoning wherever it might lead, even if it meant challenging the views of his peers. Section 7. A Legacy of Free Thought, Rawandi's Enduring Influence. Despite the controversial nature of his ideas and the loss of many of his original writings, Isḥaq al-Rawandi's legacy as a pioneering freethinker has endured through the centuries. His courage to question established dogma, his unwavering belief in the power of reason, and his willingness to challenge religious authority continue to resonate with thinkers who refuse to accept received wisdom without critical examination. While his works might not be as widely read as some of his contemporaries, Rawandi's influence can be traced through the works of later philosophers and intellectuals, particularly within the Islamic world. His ideas helped to foster a tradition of critical inquiry and rational discourse, even if it often had to operate in the shadows. Rawandi's legacy reminds us that the questioning mind is essential for intellectual progress and that challenging established beliefs, even if deemed heretical, can pave the way for new understandings and a more just and equitable world. Section 8. From Baghdad to the World. The global impact of Rawandi's ideas. While Isḥaq al-Rawandi's ideas initially germinated within the intellectual ferment of 9th century Baghdad, their impact transcended geographical boundaries and historical periods. His writings, translated and disseminated through various channels, reached scholars and thinkers across the Islamic world and beyond, sparking debates and influencing intellectual currents in unexpected places. His emphasis on reason as the ultimate arbiter of truth resonated with philosophers and theologians grappling with the relationship between faith and reason in different cultural contexts. Rawandi's critique of religious authority and his questioning of prophethood, though controversial, found echoes in the writings of later freethinkers who challenged the power structures and dogma of their respective societies. In this way, Rawandi's ideas became part of a larger global conversation about the role of reason, the nature of belief, and the importance of individual conscience. Section 9. Conclusion: Rawandi's Timeless Relevance. Over a millennium after his death, Isḥaq al-Rawandi's legacy continues to inspire. His unwavering commitment to reason, his courage to challenge religious orthodoxy, and his belief in the power of human intellect remain as relevant as ever. In an age where dogma and blind faith often seem to hold sway, Rawandi's story serves as a potent reminder of the importance of critical thinking and the need to question received wisdom. His life and work remind us that progress, both intellectual and social, often requires challenging the status quo and engaging in courageous conversations about our most cherished beliefs. Rawandi's enduring legacy lies not just in the specific arguments he made, but in the spirit of inquiry and the unwavering pursuit of truth that animated his life's work. He stands as a beacon for those who dare to question, who refuse to be confined by the limits of dogma, and who believe in the power of reason to illuminate the path towards a more just and enlightened world.